Welcome to episode 11 of Rabbit Hole Reviews. Today we have one of my favorite revolvers of all time, perhaps, the Ruger GP-100 in 38/357. Now, this revolver has been chambered in several different calibers. You have 44 Special, 38/357, 10 millimeter with moon clips. They have a 7-shot version in 357. They also have it in 327 Federal Magnum, a 10-shot 22 long rifle version. Man, I love the Ruger GP-100. Came out in 1985. They've been making them ever since in various versions. Roughly 750,000 made at this point. I'm sure that number changes daily, so don't crucify me in the comment section about the production numbers. They say in my limited internet research that I did that the GP part of GP100 stands for general purpose. And that kind of makes a lot of sense because this gun is a tank. It is designed to fire full power 357 Magnum loads all day long. So much so that when you shoot 38, it doesn't even feel like a 38. It feels like nothing. It's relatively heavy. It's all investment cast. Very few components. I think there's 4 subcomponents to the gun. A very strong design. There's no side plate or anything like that for this gun, which they say contributes to the durability. Lots of different people have used this gun. We'll get into that in a little bit. But there's just something about it. And you know that feeling when you have a gun and you just can't put your finger on one specific thing that really attracts you to it? Kind of like a woman, right? It's just something about it. This case, it's a combination, I think, of the robustness of the design. The fact that it was purpose-built to handle full power loads all day long. And I think the majority of the rounds I put through this gun were full 357 Magnums. In fact, when we do the weight testing here in a bit, we're going to use some MagTech 357s. I have 38, but it's really more design. I have the 38 on tap for guns that are only chambered in 38. When I shoot this gun, I generally just take out the full power Magnums because it's just such a joy to shoot. Now, part of that's due to the weight, which we're going to weigh in here in a little bit. The weight range, they have it. It's a range of weights, and the reason for that is because you have different models. You have different barrel lengths. You have different cylinder widths to account for the 7-shot. So the weight range that they have published is 35 to 45 ounces. And I'm sure the 45 ounces is the 7-shot, full underlug, 6-inch barrel version. I did find out that Davidson's, it's a distributor, made a limited run of 5-inch GP100 revolvers. I need to get my hands on one of those because that kind of bridges the gap. I've got a 5-inch Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum, and of course I have 4-inch revolvers like this, and I've had 6-inch revolvers in the past, and that 5-inch is just that sweet spot for revolver barrel lengths. I'm not complaining on carrying a 5-inch, but a 6-inch can be a little bit unwieldy, and that 5-inch is just, to me, is perfect. But anyway, moving on. There's a couple features about this gun. You notice here, the first thing, and now this is on the earlier versions. The later versions have a Hogue-style one-piece grip, but the earlier versions had a nice polymer grip. And you see it's a 2-part grip. You have the outer rubber sleeve, and then you have these inlaid rosewood grip panels. And so the outer rubber is called Santoprene. I guess that's some fancy term for rubber. I don't know. But it's a Santoprene grip and a rosewood insert. And they are so nice. Now, you can buy these grips aside from, if it comes with a Hogue grip, you can retrofit your grips out. These are widely available. These grip panels and this grip combination have been made for decades. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Ruger still sells it with the option to have this instead of just the Hogue. There's nothing wrong with the Hogue style grips. They're great, but this adds a touch of class to it. It's just, it's so nice. And there's a couple other features I like. So let's take a look at it real quick up close. I'll show that it's clear. Easy to check a revolver, isn't it? So the first thing I like is the cylinder release gate. You know, if you look out here, you look at the button, it's so intuitive. There's no lever that you have to push parallel to the frame. You don't have to reach over with your thumb and try to find it and force it. It's just right there. It's just right there. So that ergonomically for me is perfect. The sights are fully adjustable, and we'll get to the front in a minute. But so you see, they track really well. Originally, this gun did not ship with this high-vis insert. This is an aftermarket. This is a Ruger aftermarket sight. All steel sight. There's nothing fiber optic. There's no plastic. It's simply a steel insert sight with a high-vis in the front. So I did swap that out. It makes it much easier to pick up on a target. The sights are fully adjustable, as you see here, for elevation and windage, which is nice. Another thing which is really nice, if you want to change out your front blade, it takes all of about 20 seconds maybe. You see in here there's a plunger, and you depress that plunger with any size dowel or whatever rod you have that's appropriate diameter for this hole, and you push down on that, and then it's spring loaded, and it allows you to pop off the front sight, and it takes a matter of seconds to swap out your front sight, which is nice. I appreciate that design. What else about the Ruger GP-100? As you can see, this is a 30-year-old handgun. This one's obviously pretty clean. It's a safe clean, I guess, if you want to use that term. Let's put it on the scale and see what it weighs before we get into some more of the history. So we'll do the empty weight first. Try to get everything in frame. Okay, well that's not right, is it? Let's zero it out. All right, so just under 40 ounces. Empty. Well, you know what? I don't trust that. Let me put the whole thing on there. Okay. All right, so final number, we're going to go with 39.75. So just under 40 ounces. We'll go ahead and do a loaded test. So what I have here, just for those of you who want to know, what I'm loading this up with is MagTech 357 Magnum jacketed hollow points. Published speeds on this, it's 158 grain projectile, moving at 1,235 feet per second with 535 foot-pounds of energy with a 4-inch barrel, which this happens to have. So this would be an ideal self-defense load, and that's why I have it. Let's see if I can do this with two hands. It's kind of hard to keep it in frame, so we'll just maybe load this off camera. There we are. Sometimes it doesn't want to cooperate. So we'll quickly load it and see what 6 rounds of 158 grain bring this up to. So not bad, 43.3 ounces. Not a terrible weight at all in my mind. The weapon is so heavy, and I don't want to use that in like a pejorative sense, but it's heavy enough where if you load it up, you can barely tell if it's loaded or not. There's nothing scandium, there's nothing aluminum about this gun. It's all stainless steel, investment casting, and it's a boat anchor, but I love it. I love this gun. This is probably, well, I'll say for right now, it takes the #1 spot for an overall general purpose revolver for me. Now, there are other guns that have smooth triggers and fancy engraving and yada, 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 insert whatever. I am not a revolver aficionado by any means, but as this name would have somewhat implied, GP, it really is a good general purpose revolver. Would I carry this gun? Well, a lot of people did, and still do. I would say yes, with one exception. I would carry the SB 101 or the smaller version of this gun. you're going to sacrifice 1 round of capacity instead of having 6 or 7 rounds, depending on the model of GP that you buy. You're going to be limited to 5 rounds of 357 Magnum. But I think if you can't hit your target in 5, you're probably not going to hit it in 6. I know that sounds something out of like a corny Western movie, but the 1 round penalty you take, one in capacity, is certainly worth it, given the overall size of the SB-101 series. Now, these guns are not particularly inexpensive. And I want to say they're in the $600 range, depending on the features that you get. $600-700. They can go up pretty high. Rugers are not necessarily inexpensive if you get them tricked out or limited runs. But a basic 4-inch adjustable sight GP-100 of this vintage, if you buy it used, of course, obviously that changes the whole scheme of things, right? You're going to get it for less. So that's probably what I recommend you do. Find a nice clean one used. They've been making these since 1985. Even the previous iteration, the Security 6, which I want to pick up just for collectible reasons. You don't see those too often. That would also be a good alternative. But really, where you want to stick is like the GP-100, say the 4-inch barrel of this version, or if you want to get the 6-inch, you at least get the 7-shot. You get that extra round. Or if you're going to carry, if you like the Ruger revolvers and you like the overall fit and feel and aesthetic of a GP-100, you can opt for the SB-101 style. That would probably be, in my choice, that would be a more ideal carry piece. It's smaller, lighter. Yes, you lose 1 round, but it's considerably more concealable. Let's put this on the trigger gauge to see what we're working with. I like the trigger pulls on this gun. Of course, we're going to check to see clear since I just pulled rounds out of the cylinder, right? All right, all 6 chambers are clear. I haven't checked the weights on this before making this video, so when I check the trigger pulls, it's going to be news to me. They're very smooth trigger weights. It's just nothing really wrong about this gun. I'm trying to find something to criticize, and I usually don't do that beforehand. I kind of criticize it on the fly. So before this video times out, I'm going to see if I can come up with some negative. I think I might be falling short. All right, 12.8 pounds. That's about right. Very smooth trigger pulls. $13.2 pounds. And one more. 13.6. Okay, so there you have it for double action. Single action, of course, is going to be much lighter. Let's see, 4 pounds. That's my prediction. All right, 5.2 pounds. They also make this gun in blued, 5.2 pounds. I just don't like the blued version as much. I'm not sure why. And 4.8 pounds. So fairly consistent trigger pull, roughly 5 pounds. Both double and single action feel great. So I'm not going to criticize this revolver on the trigger pulls. Those are excellent. I think the 4-inch barrel is an ideal length. It's just, wow. What else can I say? Well, since I can't really find a criticism for it on the fly, let's talk about who used this gun. Well, so at one point, the Border Patrol used these. I know they carry these. Of course, they ended up getting replaced by semi-auto 40 cals at some point. Don't quote me on what make they had them in and all that. I am no expert as far as who did what and going back to different departments, having not been law enforcement. Greece used these. They had a counter-terrorist unit of the Greek police. The Serbian Special Anti-Terrorist Unit used these at some point. And some New York City police officers use these. Like I said earlier, the 357 4-inch barrel model was used by the U.S. Border Patrol. Of course, obviously semi-automatics took over. So I don't see too many people using revolvers. But in its day, it's just a really nice gun. Um, I'm gonna cut this video short simply because, well, I think the record of the GP-100 speaks for itself. I think a 10-minute Google search will tell you everything you need to know as far as the history of it, the track record. Everything about this gun is just built for a purpose. It's robust, accurate, reliable. Those are the three things. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a weight penalty, but that's to be expected with a full underlug stainless steel revolver, 357 Magnum type. There's no scandium, there's no aluminum alloy, there's nothing polymer on this gun except for maybe the Santoprene grips, the rubber grips. You can customize it. You can put in aftermarket sights. You saw how easy the front sight could be swapped out for whatever you choose. Same with the rear. It's just a tank. In fact, making these videos makes me want to go out and buy another Ruger. So maybe I should stop making videos, right? It's going to get too expensive. That's really all I have for you guys. This has been a quick review of the Ruger GP-100 357 38 caliber revolver made from 1986 until the present day. Have a good one.